Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be very exciting. I'm so excited for this video personally. I've been holding off on using these items for this particular video. I am going to be talking about Wet n Wild's new collection, their Photofocus collection. I got their foundation, their brand new setting powder, and their brand new Photofocus concealer. All of these are from their new Photofocus line. The only thing that I did not get was the setting spray, but to be H with you guys, I honestly just found out about the setting spray like right now, so I'm actually very new to Wet n Wild products, but I know for a fact that I've never used any like powders and foundations. I think I've used just the lip liners and the blushes from them, and definitely no concealers. So when I found out that they were coming out with a brand new line, I decided to get it. All of this stuff is brand new. I think it launched maybe a couple of weeks ago, and this video is not sponsored. Wet n Wild doesn't know who I am. I just really wanted to try these products. Just kind of spoke to me. So basically with their Photofocus collection, basically they're claiming that this is going to be high-performing like breakthrough formula. I'll go ahead and read the description that they have on their website. This is a high-performing breakthrough formula featuring light adjusting complex to help prevent white cast in photos, and it was tested under 7 light conditions with and without the use of flash. So basically this is supposed to be a skin perfecting foundation. It's supposed to be flawless, camera ready. It's claiming all of these amazing things, and I'm very excited to use this foundation. I'm very excited to use everything, honestly. I have to be honest and say that the thing I'm most excited about is the concealer. Looking at the foundation once I received it though, I just got these in the mail. It looks like the foundation is going to be a little bit too light for me, but I'm just going to go ahead and make it work. I'm going to make all this work. The only thing I've done already is moisturized and done my eyebrows because I, didn't want to have no eyebrows for this video. As for priming, I have to prime. I know a lot of first impression videos, a lot of beauty vloggers opt to not prime when they do first impression video because they don't want to mess with the actual like response of the foundation. But personally for me, I always prime because I like a layer between my skin and the foundation, and I'm going to put all this on the way I usually would. I just find that that would be more realistic for me because this is how I treat all my foundations and this is how I judge all of my foundations, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'm not going to use a mattifying or illuminizing or any primers that claim to do specific things. This is an oil control spray, but it doesn't have like a silicone texture and it doesn't illuminate my face, and this is a primer that I use on the reg anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this to prime my skin. I really do bathe in this. Alright, so the very first thing I'm going to go in with is the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation, and I got the shade Soft Beige. Hopefully this matches me. If it doesn't, I bought this off of the internet, so I tried my hardest to match myself, looking at the pictures on the website. So on the bottle, it says it is 1 fluid ounce, which is pretty standard for foundations. It costs $5.99, which is pretty inexpensive, and it comes in, I believe, 19 shades. It claims to be, again, amazing in photography. It was tested under 7 light conditions, including clear blue sunlit sky, outdoors PM, indoors PM, electronic flash, fluorescent light, bathroom light, and nightclub lights. It claims to have no flashback, and it basically claims to give you like the best selfies of your life. So one of the things I have noticed, because I have opened it before, I haven't used it yet, but I have opened it before, is it does come with a spatula applicator, which is pretty different. I've never used that before. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and apply this. I'm going to apply it to one side of my face with a damp beauty sponge, and then I'm going to apply it to another side of my face using a brush. I'm hoping this is going to be a good match for me. I'm going to go ahead and use the brush for this side. The match actually isn't that bad. I think I kind of did a good job. I think the brush absorbed a lot of the product already, so I'm going to go ahead and apply some more. It feels really, I think the word is like oily, but I don't think this claims to be an oil-free foundation. The finish of it is not very matte or very oily. It's pretty natural. Can't say I know how I'm feeling about it just yet. Okay, so right now, as for the match, it is a little light for me. A little. Honestly, you can't really notice it though, and I'm sure once I put the bronzer on, it's gonna look fine and dandy. As for catching the light, I feel like it is catching the light very well. It has a natural finish. It's not matte. It's not dewy. At least in my opinion, this isn't really dewy or matte. It's very natural, which I like. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side with a damp beauty sponge. I don't know how I feel about the spatula just yet. I think I'm definitely liking the foundation a lot more with a sponge, to be H. So this is just one layer of foundation on. Again, this side is with the sponge, I liked it a lot more with the sponge than with the brush. This side is with the brush. In all honesty, I am seeing right now that the foundation is seeping into like my pores. It really is settling into the fine lines and it's clinging on to dry patches. I'm not really the biggest fan of it right now, to be honest, but maybe like after I apply my makeup, maybe after it sets completely, something will change. Right now, I'm not just really wowed by it. I have a lot other foundations that don't really settle into my pores or my fine lines like this one is doing. Like, I'm just not crazy about this foundation yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the concealer now. This is the concealer that I will be reviewing. Again, it is the Wet n Wild Photofocus Concealer / Corrector. Again, it claims to be tested under the 7 light conditions and it is retailed for $3.99, which again, affordable. Wet n Wild usually is a very inexpensive, affordable makeup brand. Even for the drugstore, it's like super affordable. And the description of it says, let your natural beauty shine with our selfie tested creamy and luminous concealer. So I guess this claims to be more luminous. I don't know how I feel about luminous concealers, but I will say this foundation is drying down to be a lot more matte. It is drying down to be very, very, very matte, which I kind of like, to be honest, because I like. Okay, so this is what the concealer looks like out of the packaging. It is 0.29 ounces and I got the shade light medium beige. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this concealer as I usually would apply my concealers. This is very thick and not a very wet formula. I'm going to go ahead and blend this out one by one because it feels a lot more dry. Like, it's not very liquidy. It's definitely a lot more dry of a formula. The coverage is really good. It is blending out nicely. I have to be honest, I don't really see how this is like a luminous concealer. It's not being very luminous right now. I'll go ahead and do the other eye. This is the difference with concealer on and this is the difference without the Photofocus concealer. I'm going to go ahead and again try to highlight a little bit with this concealer. Again, I'm just going to use these products the way I usually would. That's how I like to test new products. Definitely a very dry concealer. I mean dry as in it's not very liquidy. Like compared to the Urban Decay Naked Skin, this is a very liquidy concealer. This is very much on the dry side. It almost reminds me of the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer when it comes to texture. This is just a tad bit more dry. Now I'm going to go ahead and set all that down using the Wet n Wild Photofocus Pressed Powder Compact. I got mine in the shade Warm Light. This comes in, I believe, 8 shades. And this retails for $4.99 and you get 0.26 ounces of product in this. So this is what she looks like. It kind of has like a dome. It might be baked because it's like a dome. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, it kind of like has a dome on it. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab that same damp sponge, grab some of this powder and set my concealer. The powder is very smoothing and it's very smooth and it honestly just kind of melts into the skin really well. Now that I'm done setting the places where I put the concealer on with the damp sponge, I'm going to go ahead and do what I usually do. This is from LUXIE. It's the 520 Tapered Face. Swirl it around. Oh, it does have a lot of kickback, this powder. Just going to lightly tap off the excess and lightly dust the rest of my face. Alright guys, I have to say, in all honesty, I think the best product, in my opinion, out of this entire line, my favorite as of now, would be this pressed powder. The foundation, however, did dry down to be like a matte foundation. It did not have like much luminosity. As like it dried more and more matte. And I feel like now it even feels like a matte foundation, which is awesome for those of you guys who are looking for an HD foundation for oily skin. However, I will say if you have a problem with your fine lines and pores, this does seep into those fine lines and pores, so just keep in mind to use a silicone based primer under. But other than that, as of now, I kind of like this foundation. It looks really good. I see myself in the viewfinder and I see myself in the mirror and it looks really good. The concealer, for my liking, is just a little bit too drying. I feel like I just still have to play around with these products to give you guys like a solid thought on them. As of like a first impression, I don't really have anything bad to say about the product. Concealer's just a little bit drying though. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face though, and I will be right back and give you guys kind of like my final first impression thoughts. Alright guys, so I went ahead and just did the rest of my makeup as I usually would. I didn't do anything special. I did go ahead and set my entire face with some MAC Fix Plus because honestly everything just kind of dried down a lot. Like I'm convinced this is a pretty matte foundation. At least with me, it just got really matte to the point that it was like drying. The foundation, I feel like I just have to work with like a little bit more. I know this isn't an exact color match for me. This is actually pretty light for my skin tone, but I tried to make it work. I did bronze a lot. In my opinion, a medium to full coverage. It's not necessarily medium, but it's not necessarily full coverage either. I was able to build it up. I did notice that it did kind of start to get patchy the more that I built it up, especially right here. So I went ahead and took some photos on my phone, and I'll go ahead and insert them in the video like around here somewhere. And I didn't really notice like my skin looked like bad or anything. So I think as for that claim, I don't really know how I feel about that just yet. I can't really claim that it's like photo perfect or HD or whatever, but what I can say is the finish of the foundation was definitely a lot more matte. If I'm being honest, it's not my favorite foundation that I've tried. I've tried a lot better, but it's definitely not the worst foundation that I've tried. But again, this is a first impressions. I'm not giving my definitive opinion on it. I think you really have to work with foundation. As for the concealer was very dry. It wasn't hard to work with. I just noticed it to be drying, and the reason why I noticed the drying more is because in the description on the Wet n Wild website, it claimed to be a luminous concealer, and it is not a luminous concealer at all. This is actually very matte. Once I set it down, it did not move. I do like it. I probably will play around with this a little bit more as well. I think the powder was my favorite thing. It is very velvety smooth. It's not very chalky. It does have some kickback, but I like the way it set my face. But it actually did kind of wow me. It really did set the skin. You know, my under eyes looked great, especially with the damp sponge. It just melted right on my skin. So the powder was actually pretty good. Overall, do I think this whole collection is worth it? I wasn't crazy by it. I wasn't floored by it. Do I think it's worth your money? Honestly, this whole collection cost me 14 bucks. If you guys are willing to spend 14 bucks to try this, go for it. I think the one thing that I would want to recommend the most is the powder. Again, I just have to play around with the concealer and the foundation a little bit more, but I don't think they are terrible. Like as of now, I don't think they are terrible. I think they're actually, you know, pretty good. They weren't amazing, but they're pretty good, especially for being drugstore foundation and for being a brand that I'm not very familiar with. I actually did really like it. So as always, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section down below. You guys know I love to chit chat with you guys there. I really hope you guys found this video helpful. I will do my absolute best to keep you guys posted on how I feel about this foundation, about the concealer. I'll try to incorporate them in tutorials and kind of give you guys more feedback on these products. If you guys would be interested in seeing a full face Wet n Wild tutorial, please let me know, because I'm actually a lot more intrigued to use this brand now that I've tried like their actual face products. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye.